All structures, including astrology, are shifting. April 18, 2016. Dear ones, today we wish to address the fears of those who closely follow astrological predictions. Just as you are shifting, so too are the stars, constellations, planets, and the totality of the universes, including what certain planet movements mean for you personally. Some astrologers have moved beyond the astrology of yesterday. Others have not. The most telling sign is that those who predict doom and gloom have retained 3D predictions even if they have shifted to 5D. It is your responsibility to determine if a message, no matter who relays it, is accurate for you. That is not to say that all 5D messages must be sunny and bright, but instead that you will sense which messages are right for you with your new inner senses. You will likely note that astrological predictions are shifting a bit, or expanding on what was once a fear prediction. That is not to say that all in your life is shifting at the same time, but instead, for you to acknowledge that structures that once were extremely important to you might be no longer, or might shift with the times. Many of you are familiar with the basics of astrology. It is time to go beyond that, for at one point in your history, astrology was one of the few predictors of what is or what might happen to you. Now that you are expanding your repertoire, as are so many others, astrology is one key, one brick in your structure, but only one. Before your cells shifted, before you added new strands of DNA, you depended on those who seemed to have a closer attachment to home for your messages and future actions. Now that so many of you are beginning to communicate in more intense, in-depth ways, if you will, astrology is less of a go-to place than an explanation of place. You are starting to communicate differently. And those of you who were astrologers in 3D and now are of 5D, are discovering different meanings for the same astrological signs and planets, just as is true for tarot readers and any other divination source. Meanings shift as you grow. So it is you no longer need to live in fear if you happen upon an astrologer, tarot reader, or channeler who beats the fear drum. As is true for so many of your previous access points, feeling fear after a reading of any sort is so yesterday. Today's messages are much more about your growth, your new being, your new earth. New structures, new possibilities, new growth. Some of you swear by this or that reader. That is well and good. But know that if they proclaim fear to be your future, they have not yet shifted their reading skills. And it is unlikely you will receive an aha that tells you that you have tapped into something that helps you move forward. If following your reading, you feel bad, hollow or frightened, know that those who provided the reading are accessing materials of yesterday. For indeed, you are emphasizing joy in every aspect of your life, more and more daily, including predictions. You are thinking that not everything can be sunny, that earthquakes and terrorist attacks continue. Such is true. But they are of yesterday. Just as you are letting go of your fears, so is the earth rearranging itself, a bit like you changing sitting positions to be more comfortable. And just as the terrorists are trying to stabilize themselves in this shifting world, you are also. The difference is, you are stabilizing yourself in joy, and terrorists are doing so in fear. Those fear pieces are coming to an end. Perhaps not this year, but soon, even in Earth time. For as more and more of you move into joy, fear will have less room to maneuver, to display itself. A bit like a schoolyard bully who ends that role because he or she is no longer rewarded for being a bully. Some of you are closely related to, or part of these last pieces of fear or the shifting earth. But most likely, your perceptions of those activities are different from what was true even a few years ago. Most of you have difficulties acknowledging to yourself how different you are from 3D you. So you return to those aspects of 3D you, astrology, tarot reading, or channeling, that reinforce your fears instead of helping you understand your new world and your new being. So it is you are discovering that those who once were important to you in terms of informing you of your future, are sometimes not as important as they once were. Not because they cannot predict the future, but that their future is colored with 3D fear instead of 5D joy. You will find those astrologers, tarot readers, and channelers who are of 5D. For just as is true for your discovery of new friends and family who support your forward movement, you will find those predictors who are right for the new 5D, or you will discover your talents in that area. Every piece of your being, your life, your universe is shifting, including those pieces that once allowed you to know or better understand what will happen to you in the future. So be it. Amen. Channeled by Brenda Hoffman. www.lifetapestrycreations.com